Hello, and welcome to the Quinnipiac Launchpad Competition. My name is Dave Tomczak.
And I am John Hood.
And tonight we have an absolutely incredible program for you guys. We have 8 teams that have worked incredibly hard over the span of this semester to create business ideas that are going to just blow your minds. But before we begin, I'd like to first introduce the Dean of the School of Business, Holly Rader, to give a few words. Holly?
Good evening, Quinnipiac community. It is a great honor to be here tonight welcoming you to the Fall 2021 Launchpad Student Competition. When we look into the future and we ask, what is the university of the future? And what do our students need to thrive in their careers and in their lives? It is the kind of preparation that you will see demonstrated, come to life in our student pitches this evening. I thank you for joining us. I hope you will continue to be part of our events. I am grateful for Professors Hood and Tomczak for not just envisioning tonight, but for all of the time and care and energy that goes into mentoring and coaching and educating our student teams. They are part of our broader university-wide ecosystem dedicated to fueling innovation and entrepreneurship. Wherever you are, whether you are a parent, an alum, a student, you should find us online at our Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Join us for these events, but tonight, dig in, stay tuned, and celebrate the remarkable accomplishments of our students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Holly.
Thank you, Holly. Okay, just as a PSA for the people at home, some of the teams will be presenting maskless. They have full compliance with the COVID task force. They have been tested, and they're in full compliance and will be up here maskless. For the last 14 weeks, our students have been vigorously working on these ideas. The first 2 weeks, they pitched their ideas and their skill sets to one another. After that, they formed teams. Once those teams were formed, they started to build their business plans. These business plans were known as granular decks, and they were in PowerPoint form. About 5 weeks ago, they submitted these granular decks to our first round of judges. The top 6 teams moved on to our Launchpad competition that you'll see here tonight, and the 2 runner-up teams will also be presenting in our 11th hour competition. Dave will explain the rules.
So tonight there are some very strict requirements. The first is that the teams will have a total of 7 minutes to present. It is time that is strictly enforced. They will then have 3 minutes of Q&A from the judges, followed by 1 minute of Q&A from the audience. That's right, you as the audience get to submit questions and participate. The teams will go one after the other for the first 6 teams, and then after that we will have our judges adjourn so that way we can bring in the 11th hour competition while the judges talk. Now, speaking of our judges, I'd like to introduce our illustrious judging panel. First, we have a dear friend of mine for 9 years now. I got to have him since a freshman in college, and now I have Oscar Gins, who is an alum of 2017, entrepreneur of many different ventures, and an all-around incredible guy. Next to him, we have our dean, Holly Rader, who just gave the welcome address. But Holly, you can see why we are so excited to have her as our dean, and the belief that she has in our students is just absolutely palpable. Of course, we have our president, Judy Olian, who has been an absolute advocate for business, innovation, and entrepreneurship as a whole. And moreover, this gets to tap into her background because she has been a business professor, dean, and more. And we are super excited to have her as part of our panel. Next to her, we have Bill Platt from our Board of Trustees, but also alumni of the class of 1978. He has been a staunch supporter of this class and actually was a judge last year. So we get to have him reprise his role. We're super excited about this. And speaking of judges who have reprised their role, next to him we have Rich Hanley, who is a professor of journalism and director of the graduate program and also the faculty liaison for athletics. And on top of that, he's been our judge for the past 12 years. Just absolutely amazing guy all around. So thank you guys so much for being part of our judging panel. And I think that we are ready to begin.
We have one more thing to talk about.
Oh,
so our
yeah.
prizes for tonight.
Ah, yeah.
So our prizes for tonight, as you can see, first place will be going home with our grand prize of $3,000. Second place will have $2,000. Third will come with $1,000. Then fourth, fifth, and sixth will have $500, $500, and $250. From there, we'll move on to the 11th hour competition. The winner of that competition will win $250. So our goal tonight was to get all these teams funded, and after tonight, they will all have funding. And then finally, our last award will be our audience favorite, and that's where all of you come into play, both here and at home. We'll open that poll, and you will award a team $1,000 to add to their total. And with that, now we can get started.
Yes. So I would like to welcome to the stage our very first team, Hylite NFT.
Imagine you get your hands on a 1952 Mickey Mantle top card. This card, you look up on the internet and find that it went for $2,880,000. You decide to bring it to the Sleeping Giant card shop because you want to find out how much of this money you can make, but you know you're not taking less than 1.5 million. But when you walk in there, you're met with a far smaller amount than you originally designed for. You're only offered a few $1,000s. So what went wrong? This leads us into our first problem with traditional assets, traditional sports cards, which is that they're easily damaged and can lose their value from creases, discoloration, and folds. As you can see, the card on the left was graded a 9 out of 10 on quality. This card went for nearly $3 million. However, due to just the few creases and discoloration of your card, it's decreased in value by a whopping 99.87%. But you're lucky that that card was even authentic, because according to the FBI, a whopping 70% of all autographed sports memorabilia is fake. So what is the solution we came up to solve this? We came up with the idea to digitize collectibles. Our cards feature immersive and imaginative ideas. They display our players in new immersive ways that have never been seen before. And the best thing about our cards is that they create meaningful connections between our fans and players alike. Here's some mock-ups of the cards that we made featuring Quinnipiac players. Our athletes are our #1 priority in this operation. And that's why our contract details that the athletes make 25% of the sale of the NFT and an additional 2.5% of the 10% that we make on every additional sale of the asset.
So let's talk about technology. NFTs are verified digital assets that live on a system that uses blockchain technology. They're units of data that can be but are not limited to pictures, videos, real estate, music, etc. A blockchain is a system of reading information that makes it nearly impossible to hack or corrupt your data. Unlike physical assets that are subject to wear and tear, digital assets such as NFTs are housed safely in digital wallets, which keeps the user's assets safe, and they can worry about collecting and not about the upkeep of their asset.
The NFT market is extremely profitable. Behind me, we have Weird Whales NFTs. The 12-year-old creator of this has made over $400,000 in 2 months of selling them. An NFT costing less than $100 to make could in turn sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. With our auction format, there's no price cap and only a price floor. This NFT is called CryptoPunk 7523. It recently sold for $11.75 million, but was created for less than 100.
This is the platform that we're going to be selling our NFTs on. It's called Solana. And unlike OpenSea, which is the #1 NFT platform, Solana offers much lower transaction fees, which is essential for us pricing our cards at an affordable rate at the auction. Our price floor needs to be available to our target market. So Solana allows us to do that with transaction costs less than a penny compared to $150 for OpenSea. Our targeted athletes come from small private universities, just like here at Quinnipiac University. This is because this is a target of athletes that has not had access to monetize their athletic careers and take advantage of name and likeness deals like some of the bigger athletes at larger state schools.
86% of buyers of sports NFTs have stated that owning the NFT has made them a bigger fan. Our target market is made up of college sports enthusiasts aged 30 to 44 who make over $100K per year.
The NFT industry is brand new, but absolutely booming. Just by June of this year, OpenSea had already sold $150 million in NFT sales. In addition to that, out of all of the NFTs that have been sold so far, the top two categories for NFTs are sports and collectibles, which perfectly suits our product. In addition to the NFT industry, the global sports card market is on the rise and predicted to reach $98 million by 2027, billion by 2027.
So let's look at the competition. We decided to highlight Campus Legends as our top competitor due to the fact that we both create NFTs for collegiate athletes. The difference between us is that they built their brand on selecting athletes who attend bigger public schools. We decided to build our brand on inclusivity and build our community of all athletes of all levels. We've already started building these communities across different platforms such as Twitter, Discord, and Instagram, which has allowed us to promote our products before we announce the release of them. On Instagram, we've already began networking with other up-and-coming NFT projects along with NFT promotional pages as you see here. In the future, we'll have NFT giveaways, which will allow us to connect with our fans like never before, which will also drive engagement to our page and boost our following. In addition to that, we'll have an About the Athlete section where signed athletes will get to share a little bit more about themselves. As of right now, we only have 3 employees, as you can see. My name is Omari Battle, and I'm the head of social media and marketing.
I'm Quinn Dalai, I'm the head of design and production.
And I'm George Hart, head of finance.
Like I said, we only have 3 employees, but we're excited to expand in the near future. We're going to hire a graphic designer who will create professional designs for us in a timely manner. We're also going to hire a social media manager who will unite our brand message across different platforms. And lastly, we're going to hire brand representatives who will travel to other schools to promote our brand.
We are seeking a $15,000 investment. $10,000 of this will be used to hire graphic designers, and the remaining $5,000 will be allocated to advertising and the fees associated with selling and creating our NFTs. Solinart has a 3% transaction fee and an average minting fee of less than 1 cent. Hylite becomes profitable as soon as we sell our first NFT.
We have 2 major revenue streams. The first one is the initial sale of the NFT. The second one is the additional royalties that we have on the NFTs. So each time that an NFT changes hands after the initial sale, we get 10% of that, and we share 2.5% of that with the athlete.
Our cash flow sheet shows us generating $98,000 in profits, $330,000 in revenue, and over 5,000 NFTs sold by year 2. These numbers are very conservative averages.
And that is time. Okay, you guys accept to the center. Okay, judges, you have 3 minutes to ask questions now.
Sure. As part of your advertising devoted to becoming official NFT suppliers or official NFT partners to given mid-level, mid-major institutions such as Quinnipiac?
I'm sorry, could you reword that?
Yeah, are you looking to create partnerships with these mid-major institutions where you become the official partner of NFT transactions with, say, Quinnipiac University?
No, so rather than pairing with the school or university, which is an approach that some of our competitors have taken, we actually paired directly with the athlete themselves to, overall there's been a lack of appreciation, especially trickle down monetarily to these athletes. So we want to ensure that they're getting the money, so we want to work directly with them.
Additionally, recently this year, the NIL rule just passed, giving these D1 athletes the first chance to ever profit off their name and likeness, and this is a new innovative way to do so.
So on that score, I think I'm on. On that score, you're taking 75% from the athlete whose name, image, and likeness you're selling. They can do direct-to-consumer.
What was that?
They can do direct-to-consumer in terms of their own marketing. What is it that the value added that you're going to justify the 75% and then the add-on in terms of the royalties?
So after they sign our contract, they don't have to do any work. All they do is give us our pictures, and then we handle everything else. We create the NFTs, we market them, and we sell them.
Also, we give the athletes a platform that they would never have on their own, especially the type of athletes that we're targeting are naturally a little bit below the radar, right? So we're working with them to market them as their own brand within our own brand. We view them as our greatest asset.
So a question I have is that, so basically, as I understand it, you work with the athlete, create the digital content, the NFT, but then you bring it to a third-party marketplace, is that right? And they actually market it?
No. So the third-party marketplace is the NFT marketplace. That's just where the sales are happening. We're handling all of the marketing and everything that has to do with the brand itself.
But do you pay them for conducting that? I mean, they would post it, right?
Right, for posting it. So yeah, they have the 3% fee
3%.
On every single sale, yes.
And that's coming out of your share or the athletes?
That's coming out of our share.
How do you handle the brand identity of their academic institution? Is that part of the NFT that you would include the branding from?
I understand.
They're a Bobcat, for example?
Right, so obviously we're going to have to avoid copyrighted images as we're not pairing directly with these schools. We're not going to have access to, say, the Bobcat or the Quinnipiac Q. But we're hiring graphic designers who we're going to work with to create themes and designs that highlight these schools, the athletes, the teams that they're on without breaching these copyrights.
Okay, and that's all the time we have for questions. Audience members in person, are there any questions? Okay, thank you, Hylite.
Thank you.
Thank you, judges.
Now I'd like to introduce our next team, Baked by Jess.
As the holiday season approaches, we're all reminded about the chaos that's about to ensue in our kitchens. And if your family is anything like mine, our dessert table is out of control. However, after all said and done, you walk back into your kitchen and you realize there's egg all over the floor, cake batter on the dog, and flour in places you could not even imagine. Hi, I'm Jess.
And I'm Sam.
And I'm the head chef and CEO of Baked by Jess. We offer pre-mixed, pre-measured dessert recipe jars shipped right to your door. These jars include the scaled-out dry ingredients for the recipe of your choosing. Along with this comes a baking guide that breaks down not only the written step-by-step, but the visual component to help you break down the perfect way to create these recipes to perfection, just like the ones you have in front of you, judges. Our system is set up in a three-tiered structure: beginning, mid-level, and master chef. Our beginning recipes are our easiest recipes, like cookies and brownies. And our mid-level recipe, they get a little more difficult with pies and tarts. And finally, our master chef recipe are our most complex, with confectionaries like donut bread pudding and macaroons. In addition to this, we also offer ingredient alternatives for people with different dietary restrictions and preferences, such as using coconut oil instead of butter or gluten-free flour instead of regular flour. Apart from our standard line, we also offer a THC and CBD product line. Now, these do not include any CBD or THC in them. However, infusing these ingredients do give a bitter, earthy taste to your baked goods. As a culinary graduate, I understand how it's important to be precise with your ingredients and how adjusting the sugar can affect your flour and affect your eggs. By creating all these recipes by myself, I was able to control these effects so that I can conceal those flavors and give you a perfect baked treat. In the last 11 years, the CBD market has grown by $3.5 billion and the THC market by $22 million. This number is only expected to increase as more legalizations occur and these two products become more normalized. Since the start of the pandemic, 48% more people have been baking at home. This gives us a great opportunity to meet that niche and give them an efficient and fun way to make these baked treats at home with their friends and family.
So a large portion of these people are going to be families who are trying to inspire creativity within their children. And what better way to do this than through baking? Next is going to be our friends who are trying to have a fun night in. Instead of watching a Netflix show, turning on a movie, or being on your phone, you can put the phones down and enjoy baking with your friends. This, in turn, will inspire new conversation and kindle new friendships. And finally is our aspiring bakers. Just highlighted before, we have a 3-tier system: beginner, mid-level, and master chef. And these aspiring bakers can work their way up these tiers and improve on their skills. So we'll also, we'll be offering other resources to these aspiring bakers as well through social media. We'll be doing Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook accounts. Jess will be posting how-to videos from her baking from scratch so that these aspiring bakers especially can benefit from watching her visually complete these products. Next, we'll be visiting local farmers markets around Connecticut. We'll be pitching a table and selling these mixed jars. This, along with our business cards and stickers, we believe that we'll be creating good brand awareness within the community and spreading by word of mouth. So Jess graduated from culinary school. So that being said, she has all the kitchen and prep materials needed, and she also bakes a lot after. So there's a $0 startup cost. Next is going to be our website, which is our largest startup cost at $2,750. After this is our domain and website maintenance, which is our yearly fee. And then our packaging ingredients comes from our yearly sales, our projected yearly sales. And finally, our marketing. This takes into account the fact that we'll be attending a lot of local farmers markets around Connecticut, as well as the competitions that we'll be having on our social media accounts, giving away prizes. This gives us a grand total of $24,130 for our first year.
So then comes the question, how do we price this? I was able to break down all the ingredients that Baked by Jess uses in all the recipes to the exact gram, and then approximate the measurement to each recipe jar to find out our break-even point. Our break-even point is $5.18, and we intend to sell these jars between $15 and $25, depending on the product line of your choosing. We have anticipated 2,000 jars sales in our first year of sales, giving us a profit of $107,000 in our first year. And that money will go to good use, because I'm planning on having Baking with Jess classes. This is kind of like a riff on paint night, where your friends and family could come in, learn the skills associated with baking, as well as enjoying your friends and family company by ending the night with a delicious treat. In addition to that, like I had mentioned before, we do not include any CBD and THC into our products. However, in the future, we'd love to include CBD into our jars. This is a very costly and lengthy process to go through, so once we're a little more grounded and we have some more capital, that's definitely somewhere we'd love to expand. In addition to that, we also offer our customers a connection to reliable CBD suppliers through our website, so we're ensuring they get quality and consistent product. Because THC is not federally legal like CBD, we are unable to currently offer that option for our customers. However, as it does become federally legalized, this is something we'll also be offering on our website. So like I said, my name is Jess.
And I'm Sam.
Let's get baking. This is Baked by Jess. Above, we have our website listed. We launched in about a week. And we also have my email as well as my phone number if you have any questions or would like to place an order. Thank you so much.
Okay, so now we will begin with our 3 minutes of Judges Q A.
Go ahead. Okay. I just had a couple things. The first thing I wrote down was liability. So when shipping these CBD, THC products in the future, how would you handle the liability, as not every state treats it the same? So how would you handle the liability of that, as well as the liability if there's an issue with the products, making someone ill, so on and so forth, someone claims you shipped the wrong thing?
Right, so we thought through insurance already. We've looked through a couple different rates that we could get through Progressive. I believe it was like $57 a month to start. Obviously, once we start including CBD and THC into our processes, I'd be hiring a lawyer to come on and kind of take on all those legal aspects. I'm no legal pro. I'd rather have somebody come in and make sure it's done right so that my customers are getting quality and consistent product, and if there is an issue, it's taken care of properly.
Okay, and then just to springboard off of that, would you fall under any USDA or type of federal regulation when it comes to food service?
So I actually have my food safety certification from going through culinary school, as well as I have looked into how to register these products, because when you do produce them wholesale, you have to get a registration from the FDA. That is something we are working on right now. There's a lot of paperwork that comes along with that, so that is something we're definitely working on.
Okay.
With that, would you certify a kitchen then or something, or where you mix it?
So the good news is because we're not baking any of these ingredients, it kind of allows us to avoid the liability of, foodborne illnesses and different issues that may arise from that. Right now, I'm in my apartment, and that's where this space is being taken care of. Because it doesn't include any baking, it does give me the opportunity to produce these products at a higher rate of efficiency without needing any type of specific zoning permits.
I bake, sometimes by Sarah Lee. How are you going to convince me that you're differentiated from the available baked products that out there measure what I need?
Right. So we kind of compare ourselves to a fancy Betty Crocker. So Betty Crocker, as you've noticed, I'm sure, it's very simplistic recipes like regular brownies or white cake or things like that. By offering that 3-tiered system, not only does it allow for customer growth, but it adds a little bit of value, because by making something like macaroons, that's really a way to kind of spice up your party and something you could make. So the options of the types of desserts that we're making available to our customers, I think, differentiates us from what's already on the market. And pricing-wise, we did a bunch of surveys throughout people in our target market, people our age as well as our older age target market. We found this number basically through our expectations and the yield that would be in each jar. From there, like I mentioned, it depends on the product line of your choosing. The THC and CBD ones, because it was more labor intensive, those will be more expensive than our regular baked goods.
How are you going to scale the business, and what is your marketing strategy for that?
Right, so right now my plan is to stay localized. I'm not planning on, like I said, becoming the next Betty Crocker. I'd like to keep it localized, and so I'm able to maintain the quality control of it. As we grow, we definitely thought about hiring somebody else on to help me package these goods. As far as distribution-wise, we plan on growing obviously in the future, and I would love to own a storefront at some point in time, but that's when we have the capital to do so.
So I'm going to interrupt at this point. From the audience, if there's anyone here in person, and also the online one, sorry, have to check this. If you don't bake the products, what stops me from going to my grocery store if 1 million recipes are available to me on the internet?
So I think that I would say the value in using my recipe versus the internet one, you have it laid out in front of you. HelloFresh has been extremely successful using the exact same model. Just as similarly, you could read a cookbook or you could go online and Google a dinner recipe, but they've been so successful because they've been able to maneuver not only the prep process, but also simplify the progression process as to how to cook these perfectly every single time, so you feel like you're a master chef and you feel like you're progressing your skill set.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And we want to remind the audience that you are welcome to ask any questions at any time. You can submit questions online through the online chat, or for those of you who are in person, feel free to just raise your hand and we'll be happy to call on you. Next up, we have Campuscars. And so I'm going to ask Jess and Tess to come to the stage.
It's Friday night, and I just handed in the biggest assignment of the semester, and I'm so excited to go to New Haven with my 2 best friends. We get in the car, and our driver, Robbie, is a pretty funny guy. About halfway into the ride, he even offers to get us, a bunch of underage women, alcohol. That's when things started to get a little scary. The next day, Robbie somehow got our phone number, and he asked, could I meet up with you and bring you that alcohol? And that's when Robbie really wasn't scary or funny anymore. Luckily for us, that's where our story ends. But for other females in our community, they haven't been so lucky with recent break-ins with past Uber drivers. I'm Tess.
I'm Jess.
And we're making a promise with Campuscars to get your students and children home safely.
So we have identified 3 main problem areas of the ride-sharing industry. The first being safety. When we talk about safety being a problem, we refer to cases like Tess's, and in some more serious cases, like the recent break-ins at Quinnipiac and the sexual assault charges made against Uber. In addition to this, surge charges can cause a real concern for safety. Costs can rise up to 8 times more than a normal price, which ultimately could leave riders in an unsafe environment with no way of getting home. And lastly, ride-sharing services can cause cars to idle for far longer than they should be, causing severe harm to our environment.
So we can offer you extreme safety, but on top of that, we offer sustainability with fully electric vehicles, a chance for student employment that works around not only class, but homework schedules, a career path opportunity to advance from a driver to an intern and from an intern to a full-time position holder at Campuscars. And we also offer cost savings with an alternative shuttle solution that's customizable to your students.
We conducted a survey to gather evidence to support our solution. And based on over 1,200 responses, we can confirm that at least a third of our target market has felt uncomfortable in a ride-sharing service. And a majority of them would feel safer being driven by a peer.
So how are we going to do this? We're going to start with hiring the right drivers. When you apply, you'll need to have proof of both license and insurance, and then we'll move forward with a DMV screening to see if there's been any points against your license. If that comes back clear, we'll move forward with a residential assistant level background screening to make sure that you are liable and able to drive our students. In terms of keeping our riders safe once they're in the vehicle, we'll have a throttle restrictor that permanently limits the speed of the vehicle, and we'll also have an onboard monitoring system that allows us to see if there's been a collision, if people are wearing their seatbelts, live screenshots of the dashboard, and most importantly, it'll give us statistics on the type of driver we've hired so we can get data on information like how fast or slow they're braking and accelerating. We'll also have cameras so we can monitor any situations that might arise, and most importantly, breathalyzers to ensure sober driving. To keep our company safe, we'll have not only collision but liability insurance, as well as bonuses in the form of both book and academic scholarships so we can show our drivers just how supportive we are to their academic journey.
Our digital experience consists of both our app and our website. Our app will be used by our riders, renters, and drivers. Each of them will have a slightly different experience, but both equally as simple to navigate. The app will have features such as sharing the ride and receiving a unique one-time user QR code that is requested for you to start your drive. These are just examples of some of the features we will use to make sure our service is as safe as possible. In addition, our website is primarily used for marketing purposes. It has all the information you should need to know about our business, but if you wanted to find out more about us, you could contact us for a formal pitch. As for our competition, our rentals will be up against the likes of Zipcar, and although they have a fairly large user base, they don't specifically target the student population, which leaves room for Campuscars to grow amongst different universities. In the ride-sharing industry, Lyft and Uber are market leaders, and although they are popular among students, they pose many safety risks, which Campuscars helps to combat.
Moving on to shuttle service, ProPark is a third-party system that many universities use in the United States. But just down the road at Connecticut College, they've canceled their van service to save money and instead created a partnership with Lyft. This partnership allows students 4 free rides per month to and from select locations up to $12. We can offer Quinnipiac a similar partnership, but with the additional benefits of sustainability, student employment, and cost savings. In terms of our pricing model, we'll charge $5 per mile with no surge charges and transparent fees. In terms of our rentals, it'll be $12.50 for an hour. After 5 hours, we'll switch to a daily model of $80, and for a 5-day week, which would be perfect for Thanksgiving or spring break, we'll charge students $450. The partnerships we've worked to create over the last 14 weeks include Donlin and Wesleyan University. Donlin is a fleet leasing company in the United States. In our initial meeting, we went over what we would need as well as our prices and finances, and that's how we selected the Chevy Bolt as our Campuscars fully electric vehicle. We also worked and talked about a 1-year no mileage limit lease that includes maintenance, so they would take care of maintenance and we would simply drop off the vehicle. Wesleyan is a university also in Connecticut, and we went to them in the very early stages of our business. We presented them our ideas and they gave us feedback on what they would like to see next time we come to them, and we've included that into the presentation you're seeing today. Moving into our expenses, we have monthly payments of our lease, our driving point system, our liability and collision insurance, obviously our employee pay, electricity to charge the vehicles, as well as marketing. And then each university will have the one-time fee of the charging station and the installation costs. But we're very excited to say that with both state and federal rebates, that cost will be cut down by nearly 50%. After those costs, each ride will have a profit margin of about 38%. And based off that percentage, one car at one university will make about $38,000 in the first year. For a school like Quinnipiac, there'll be about 10,000 students, and we're expecting to have a 5-car fleet, and so a 5-car fleet will make about $190,000 in the first year. In terms of our growth model, because we are capital intensive and there is construction involved, we feel adding one university every 3 months will be a safe bet. We'll specifically target middle-sized universities that are private in New England, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. We're targeting these states specifically because they have state rebate programs that are extremely similar to Connecticut, so we can optimize the amount of money we're getting back. Jess and I are extremely committed to launching Campus Cars within the next year. We even signed up for a field project class so we can spend the next 14 weeks further developing this model. In that business, we're going to make sure that we enter more business plan competitions just like this one on both state and national levels. We'll also work on more marketing so we can have pamphlets and informational booklets when we go to universities, as well as work on an employee plan so that we can advance our program. And finally, we want to meet with the QU team so we can launch and earn a beta tester for May of 2022. Jess and I are so excited to bring you Campus Cars, a safe and a green way to get around. For more questions, you can go to mycampuscars.com.
Okay, judges, you will have 3 minutes to ask questions.
Sure. I mean, how long will the average trip be? How many miles per customer?
So based off the data we collected on the 12,000 responses, we feel that the average ride will be about 12 miles. That's about to and from Target in terms of Quinnipiac to North Haven.
How do you expect to be able to deploy these cars with campus drivers, given the tightness of the labor market? How much are you offering? Are you offering a surcharge, a premium over other salaries? I mean, will people want to work for you? What was your hourly rate that you factored in?
So absolutely, we want to be about $1 above minimum wage, so about 14 plus tips. We also offer a flexible work schedule, so you can log on when you have free time, which we think is extremely appealing to the college community. And we feel that with the bonuses that we offer through both book and yearly scholarships, it's extremely appealing. Not to mention the fact that our drivers, if they do a great job, they have the opportunity to become a campus intern.
How did you determine the 5-car fleet size, and related to that is taking into account your opening story of, the Friday nights being a particularly high demand time?
So we came off that. It's when we divided the number between 5 and a school like Quinnipiac, it came about 2,000 to 1 car, and we felt that it was a good starting point. It's obviously subject to change once we launch, but we feel that 5 cars is a safe bet to start, and we're going to do a rental model during the day, and then at night it will switch to the ride sharing. So like you said, going to and from New Haven. And so we'll do as many rides as we can, but we don't want to put additional pressure financially on the business.
My question is regarding the vehicles and the cost of installation of, I assume, interlock or some type of breathalyzer system, the cameras, and the speed limiter, and are those items compatible with the vehicles you're talking about?
Yes, so when we met with Donlan University, we selected the Chevy Bolt, and the cameras I talked about, the throttle restrictor and the driving point, that's all something that they can install into the vehicles when we create a contract with them.
Okay, and that cost is how much per vehicle?
So for the driving point system, it's about $30, and it's going to depend on this type of camera and throttle that we select, which we will work on next semester.
And that's built into the lease cost, or you're funding that up front?
The lease cost will be monthly, and those additional fees will just be tacked onto our monthly bill with Donlan.
And then what about the other capital? You talk about charging stations. So if you had 5 cars, would you have 5 charging stations?
Correct.
And you'd have to work with the university for a location to install those?
Yes, and so for Quinnipiac, we thought South Lot would be a great spot. Just off of observation, it seems like it's kind of a slower parking lot, so we would just find a university spot that's a little bit slower. Each charging station is about $2,000, but with state and federal rebates, it can knock it down to about $1,000.
And does that include getting the power to the station? I mean, I just look at Hamden Plaza where they put up charging stations, and it was months of work to bring in power and big transformers and other things like that to get power to it.
So the installation is going to be about $6,000, but again, we get separate rebates for that. In terms of how we're going to contact with that with construction, it'll be a challenge we'll have to tackle next semester. But we feel as they become more and more popular, we'll be able to smooth out the process of getting it installed quickly.
Okay, that's all the time we have for judges' questions. We do have a question from the audience. Interesting concept, but with the current ride-sharing companies with larger customer bases and a larger supply of employees, margins are in the negative 30%. How could this turn a profit?
So based on the partnership we saw with Lyft and Connecticut College, they're actually turning a positive profit now that they have the partnership with them. And so we feel having the partnership with the university and having rebates for the students to have free rides, as well as the renting, which most of the ride sharing doesn't offer, we can turn a positive profit.
Thank you. Okay. Up next, we have our 4th team, Approaching Me.
Hello there, we're Approaching Me. We are a subtle, stylish, anime-themed clothing company made by nerds for nerds.
Hello, my name is Kevin Carbonell. I'm the co-executive of Approaching Me.
And I'm Tomas Radina. I'm the CEO and founder of Approaching Me. But more importantly, I'm an anime nerd who's in the big and tall sizing category and is frankly sick and upset of the fact that all of our clothing is ostentatious and not very stylish. Take a look at these examples here. Over here we have a shirt from Jujutsu Kaisen, which is one of the most popular anime out right now. It's an action-themed show. It's similar to something you'd watch on the CW, like Flash or Arrow. Does this look like a Flash or Arrow? No. It's got a man eating a finger for some reason, and that doesn't look good. That doesn't look gross. I have so many questions just seeing that shirt. And on top of that, if I did want to buy that shirt, they don't offer it in the big and tall sizes, which means I can't wear it even if I want to. Imagine if your favorite TV show finally came out with merchandise and you can't buy it because it doesn't fit. It's just the worst feeling. That's what we here at Approaching Me are here to solve. There we go. We want to take the loud and socially questionable designs of a lot of anime-themed clothing, such as this, and we want to take it and simplify it into something more socially acceptable, business casual, and aware. For example, my outfit right now is referencing two animes. My mask references Demon Slayer, and my shirt and tie combination references Hatsune Miku. We want to do that, and in addition, create more casual clothing, like t-shirts and such, that sports simple designs similar to what you would wear for sports memorabilia. Some proof of concepts we have here are this Dragon Ball Z polo. This is just an orange polo that features a Dragon Ball Z signature hairstyle on the breast pocket. To anybody who doesn't have knowledge of this brand, they're just going to assume that, oh, it's a cool polo with a unique company that manufactured it. But to other Dragon Ball Z fans, they'll be like, oh, I know that. We also have our Giorno Giovanna JoJo's Bizarre Adventure button-up polo. This sports the signature ladybugs of Giorno Giovanna on the breast pockets, which is a little bit more ostentatious, I will admit, but I think you could still slide it in a business casual environment. And just to further cement this fact, even our name and logo are an anime reference. Approaching Me is, or I should say, oh, you're approaching me, is a popular meme format that anime fans use all the time on the internet. And we wanted to reference that to not only show that we are committed to our simple design aesthetic, but that we are members of the anime community. Now, I've talked a lot about pre-existing brands, and you probably have a lot of questions about copyright. Initially, we're going to be working on designs that reference the shows and are homages to them without directly infringing on their copyright, using fair use laws in Section 17, subsection 107 of the United States Copyright Code. And then once we have cemented ourselves a little bit in the community, we are going to be seeking out official licensing and brand deals with various anime companies in order to produce clothing that is for them. In terms of promoting ourselves, we're going to be primarily doing it through influencers and social media, as that's where a lot of anime fans live. Up here I have a few examples: Sea-Dog, VA, Nux Taku, and the Anime Man, who are all large anime influencers with several million subscribers to their names. From my research, their audience bases don't overlap too much, so partnering with them, we should see about 4 to 5 million people getting their eyes on our products. Additionally, we're going to be producing content on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to further cement ourselves in the community and not just be a brand that's marketing to anime fans, but show that we are anime fans ourselves. Now, Kevin, would you mind telling me a little about the industry?
Absolutely, Tomas. Merchandising is an estimated 1/3 of the anime global market. As of 2020, the global anime market was worth $23.6 billion and is estimated to be worth $48 billion in 2030. Our main competitors are Hot Topic and Shark Robot. Hot Topic is a retail chain with 675 stores located across America, and they sell anime merchandise both online and in-store. However, one of the main problems with Hot Topic is their obnoxious design aesthetic that we described earlier in our presentation about anime merchandise. Shark Robot is I'm so sorry.
An anime influencer company who produce a variety of merchandise for people who create anime content on the internet. And while they are not direct competition with us, due to their similar business model and the fact that they could easily pivot into producing anime content if they should get the licenses, we wanted to keep them on our radar to ensure that we are aware of our potential competitors. In terms of actually selling products, we're going to be doing a monthly drop model, which means that during the first week of a month, for example, we will open our online store on Shopify, and customers can place orders for the products they want in the sizes they want. Once that week ends, we take all those orders and we send it over to our manufacturer, Intrepid Sourcing, who handles quality assurance, making sure that our products are manufactured properly, made with the proper materials that we select, and then handle the logistics of getting those products to us at Approaching Me so that we can ship them out to our customers. In terms of actually getting our designs, until we get these licensing deals underway, we'll be hiring freelance artists on websites such as Fiverr in order to produce some great designs. In terms of actually making money, we're going to be selling our products for about $30 to $60, depending on if it's a polo shirt, a t-shirt, or a button-up. Additionally, we're going to be offering our customers a $20 monthly subscription, which is going to give them early access to our drops. This is going to ensure that they get them if we have limited quantities or limited time offerings that they can't access. And from our research, 60% of people will make a purchase based on fear of missing out, which means that 60% of our customers will pay us $20 just to get access to our products. In terms of our financial assumptions, we have a moderate growth rate of 8%. However, the anime community has proven itself to be very fickle, and this number can easily be much, much higher. Additionally, we expect that by the end of our first year, we will have made $80,000. And while that doesn't sound a lot compared to our competitors, we can start our company for less than $1,000, which means we have an 800% increase on initial investment. Anyways, we're Approaching Me. I've been Tomas Rodina.
I'm Kevin Carbonell.
If you'd like to contact us, you can email us at theapproachingmeapparel@gmail.com. And thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Judges.
I want to ask a couple of questions very quickly. How have you factored in the cost of licenses and the cost of influencers? Because I don't know an influencer who doesn't make a lot of money from product mention.
Oh, my apologies. Currently, we are not directly planning on working with influencers while we get the company established, as that will require more capital. Some smaller influencers will be able to be coerced with simply giving them some free products and such to market with. However, while for the bigger influencers, such as the ones I listed, we are going to be using capital that we could potentially win today or that we make in our first couple months in business in order to get that marketing out there.
And the licenses cost. But I'll ask one other question. The turnaround time, because you're doing just-in-time production based on what people are ordering. What do you expect the turnaround time to be?
Currently, our expected turnaround time is about 3 weeks after ordering, which might seem like a lot, but compared to a lot of our competitors, such as Shark Robot, that is significantly lower. For example, Shark Robot currently has about a 9-week waiting period to get their orders, and that is an estimate.
And why do you think you can do it in 3?
It is because we have discussed with Intrepid Sourcing and about getting turnaround done, and while we're starting out small, it'll be a lot easier, and once we start ramping up production, they have access to more and more facilities that can produce more and more products as we need it.
But this model will have somebody orders design A, you'll manufacture 1 unit of design A. The next person orders design B, 1 unit of design B. There's no volume in the production, right?
We don't place the orders for production until the order period is over. So all of our customers place our orders. So we're going to have 15 people that want design A in a 3XL, for example. And then we tell Intrepid Sourcing that's how many we need. They make it for us, and then we distribute it to our customers.
So once that 3 weeks is gone, you can't buy that design?
They will only be able to purchase it for the first week. Those 3 weeks are for us to manufacture it and ship it out.
So what you're trying to do is create scarcity?
Yeah, we are effectively generating artificial scarcity as we want to make our products act as sort of a dog whistle to fans, not only just for the shows themselves that they're representing, but also the rareness of our clothing is going to be more enticing to people to want to buy.
Anime fans are, as you mentioned, are fickle, but they're also, ironically, particular about things. And your product, without having any brand tie-in, could be interpreted as a knockoff and thus be subject to ridicule on various image boards, 4chan, for example. Are you prepared for that sort of contingency?
Yes, we are. I am an active member in the anime community and was working on some surveying this past week, actually, to sort of gauge how many people would be interested in our products. While I don't have the exact results back yet, it has been sort of a generally positive reception upon the proposed ideas. And additionally, I have been working with marketing for many influencers online and stuff, and have been handling situations like that. So I believe that we have a steady framework to deal with any PR potential disasters.
Okay, I'm going to have to cut you off there. But I have one question from the audience, which Troyden Reacts asks, what's your current sales? Are you involved through clubs and campus?
We have not started any sales yet, as we are still in the setting up the website and such phase. So I cannot speak on that at this time.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. Next up, we have our duo team, Itopia.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Hi, my name is Tahia Badin.
And I'm Siobhan Chin.
And we are the developers of Itopia. I'd like to take a moment to ask you to imagine that you're about to take a trip to a new and unfamiliar destination. You're trying to figure out what to do while you're there. What are the hottest restaurants to eat at? What cafes open the earliest? What bars close the latest? What's the coolest art gallery, the closest museum, and so much more. Before you know it, your travel itinerary looks something like this. A Word doc that's clunky, hard to follow, and that took you hours to create. We noticed a problem in activity planning. It's a lengthy, demanding process that's difficult to coordinate amongst multiple people. It leaves you with no time to make a truly dynamic itinerary that is ready to suit your specific preferences, and it ultimately leads you to having unfulfilling and dissatisfying experiences. That's where Itopia comes in. Itopia is the ultimate one-stop app solution to all activity planning grievances. Itopia helps you find activities to do in particular areas, allows you to plan them and edit them on an itinerary, and allows you to share them and customize them in groups of people, all while valuing ease and simplicity above all. We conducted 2 surveys and 35 interviews to learn more about how segments of our target market planned and found the activities that they were going to do while they were on their trips. We saw that for 75% of respondents, the most stressful aspect of their entire travel itinerary planning was accounting for the activities that they were going to be doing in groups of people. And when we asked them if they would consider using an app that would address these concerns, an overwhelming 92% of them agreed that they would do so. Our target market is split into 3 core groups: people between the ages of 18 to 29, adults between the ages of 30 to 54, and families that are planning to take trips in the near future, all based in America. In the summer of 2021, 100 million group trips were taken, and by 2022, this number is expected to rise to 376 million. That same survey also found that for 76% of those group trips, their top priority was finding a place that everybody was going to agree, enjoy, and love. And on top of that, 95% of those groups did their plan for the entire activity itineraries online. What this tells us is that Itopia's digital platform is the perfect transition for groups looking to create customizable activity itineraries that are ready to suit everybody's preferences. Our marketing strategy is split into 7 different promotional strategies that we plan to implement in phases to different subsections of our target market. After our first initial year of launch, we plan to shift the majority of our focus from customer retention to new customer acquisition. After this, we plan to market to travel-adjacent communities like Airbnbs and hotel stays in order to create deals with them that would allow them to promote Itopia as the go-to travel planning app to their customers for a fee. Now, we're sure you're wondering how all of this is going to work from the end user's perspective.
To start our user's journey, they must do 3 simple steps. 1, download Itopia. 2, make an account or continue as a guest. 3, answer a quick questionnaire. That's it. 3 steps, it's quick, easy, and simple. That is our user experience. However, there is a difference in the user experience, which is through our 2 subscription models, the free plan and the premium plan. The free plan offers customizable trip activity plans, and the premium plan offers so much more, from special deals, cheaper booking activity fees, and most importantly, it is ad-free.
We want to attract as many businesses to be featured on Itopia as possible, and we plan to do this by giving them their first 3 months free before having them enroll in one of our subscription plans. They can either choose to pay $9.99 a month or $79.99 for the entire year. We're also going to be offering them sponsored deals in which Itopia will promote their business to a larger pool of Itopia users, essentially allowing them to get more ads to people's travel itineraries. And finally, we offer a data analytics bundle in which we will sell relevant user information data to these businesses for a fee of $29.99 a month, excluding personal and sensitive information, and allowing the user to opt out if they wish.
Itopia does have some competition. Wanderlog, TripAdvisor, Lonely Planet, TripIt, and Airbnb Experience. Our main competitors are TripAdvisor and Wanderlog. TripAdvisor offers a wide variety of activities for its users, and Wanderlog makes, shares, and maps its users' activities. However, Itopia is better because Itopia matches its activities to its users' preferences and generates schedules according to the user's preferences. Wanderlog and TripAdvisor do not do either one of these things. And Itopia also offers a flexible, dynamic structure of both group and solo activities for those people who want to go off on their own. And most importantly, all the itinerary planning is done on Itopia's platform. That is one resource, and that is why Itopia is going to be successful on the App Store.
Travel and lifestyle are the 7th and 4th most popular Apple App Store downloads, and on the Google Play app, apps listed under the travel and local categories had a 90% penetration rate amongst its targeted market in the year 2020. What these statistics tell us is that these numbers, coupled with our very, very detailed marketing plan, will allow us to feasibly attain 2,000 downloads within our first initial month of launch. After this, we plan to after factoring in churn, we plan to estimate having 500 engaged monthly users, and after taking into account a 16% annual growth rate and a 2% premium conversion rate, we estimate generating over $900,000 worth of profits within our 3rd year. That being said, we will be also incurring some costs. Our primary expenses will be going into our initial app development, followed by our marketing plan. We want to make sure that Itopia is marketed in the most effective and ideal way possible. Next, we want to include as many of the brightest minds on our team. So we want to make sure that our employment so we want to make sure that we are investing a decent sum of our money into our employment. And finally, we want to ensure that our beta testing is as solid as possible so that by the time that Itopia reaches people's hands, it is in its perfect state. So, help us make activity planning a utopia with Itopia. Thank you.
Okay, judges, you will now have 3 minutes.
So your business model assumes the network effects of the two-sided market of the activity providers and the customers.
Yes.
How do you address that? The startup is tricky when you don't have either side of that market.
So we plan to try to attract as many businesses to become listed on Itopia. We're going to first do this by offering them some time on Itopia for free. On top of that, if we find that the business is a large attraction within a particular city, we're also going to be offering them a larger discount when it comes to their subscription, meaning they won't have to pay the full $79.99 a month. On top of this, there are some activities that are free. For example, going to the park or visiting a museum, which is not necessarily owned by particular entities. Therefore, if we include those suggestions on our app, we'll be able to have a decent catalog of activities before actually having to strike particular deals with certain activities.
I'm still trying to understand, though, to Holly's question, is that, so when you start, I understand that, a provider or a site can get on for free for the first 3 months.
Yes.
But really to be viable, and I don't know whether you're doing global travel or just the United States.
Yes.
But if you're just the United States, you've got to cover the whole country.
Yes.
Or else a user, when they go on, is going to say, oh, I wanted to go to Maine, and they look and you don't have any businesses in Maine for them to learn from. So how do you deal with the scale of having the breadth of coverage so that to a user, when they actually download it and try it for free, it's got something interesting for them?
So we plan to have 5 initial destinations on our app. We want to have Honolulu, Hawaii, LA, California, Denver, Colorado, Boston, Massachusetts, and Vermont. Oh, sorry, no, and Las Vegas. We want to have, and Miami, Florida. We want to have those specific destinations because we found that they were the most popular tourist attractions in the United States for both international and local travelers. And on top of this, we want to have 1,000 activities enlisted on Itopia before its initial launch. So we're going to make sure that we have a decent catalog of places to choose from, 200 activities per destination. That includes restaurants, before people actually start using the app. And we also plan to add businesses on an overarching yearly timeline, but we're going to be adding businesses on there per month. We just want to make sure that we hit our goals for the year.
Are businesses that are listed on Itopia going to be able to pay to incentivize their business? Are they going to be able to pay you to be the promoted company or destination? And under that, also, when dealing with international, how do you handle if it's different country, different language? Have you accounted for that?
So to answer your first question, could you please repeat your first question?
The first question is, are companies going to be able to pay you to promote their business on your app? And if so, do you have a pricing structure for that?
Yes, so they're going to, for promotion for 1 week, they're going to be paying $6.99, and for 2 weeks they're going to be paying $8.99. We're going to be promoting their activity to a larger pool of Itopia users. We're going to be doing that regardless of their specific preferences, meaning if someone was like, I'm really interested in mountains, we're going to promote that specific, we're going to promote different kinds of activities to that user. So, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's all the time we have for questions. So thank you, Itopia. There's no audience questions, so you guys are finished.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up, I'm going to welcome Clarify.
Imagine coming through the stressful, the time-consuming, and the difficult college admission process, but you have no one to talk to about it. Can't talk to your parents, can't talk to your friends, can't talk to anyone because you just don't have any connections. This is what happens to every international student. This is what happened to me and my process of coming over here. Today, me, Lockie, and my partner, Will, we're going to explain to you how we're going to solve this problem. The solution? Clarify. Our app is a modern, sleek, and most importantly, personable way that we are going to get international students to connect with American universities. It's a match-based system that means that whenever a student sees a university that they wish to match with, they can match with them and it gets added to a list. Let me show you the design. When you open the app, you'll be met with a 20 to 30-second video shot by an on-campus student. This means that you will get a genuine view as to what you are getting into as a student coming into the university. Below this, you have the most essential statistics: international undergrad numbers, international numbers total, all the essential statistics that you need to know as an international student coming into the school. Once you've matched with the school, they'll go to your college's page. On this page, you can find out more information or you can apply directly. Beyond this, we have our profile and our search criteria pages. Profile page is where you fill out your most basic details as the international student. Your email, your location, everything that the universities need to know from you. As for the search criteria, this is where you put everything that you need to know from your universities. This is all of the statistics that I mentioned before. SAT requirements, location, all the essentials. So our target market's obviously international students. That's our biggest beneficiaries of this. That's who we're making this for. They are the ones who are struggling the most, and this is who the app will help the most in our process. American universities, this is our biggest source of revenue. International high schools. Over time, as we continue to grow, we will reach out to international high schools to recruit multiple international students at a given time. When we build rapport with these high schools, they'll want to come back to us year in and year out. Finally, data brokers. Data brokers will be interested in the data that we acquire through our students' profile page. Our competitors are Niche and StudyCo. Niche is the website that contains the basic statistics which are available to international students right now. This is what you see when you are coming over. Niche is not personable. They look at students like numbers. We look at students like students. StudyCo is an international recruiting agency. This works as a sort of one-on-one way to come into universities in America. Obviously, our app will be able to reach thousands of students when it's fully operational, something that international recruiters cannot do by themselves.
Fortunately for us, the global industry has actually been reshaping itself over the past several years, and we've been seeing a decline in US students attending United States schools. Because of this, schools are looking towards international students to fill those spots so they can continue to make their tuition quotas each year. Looking at this orange line over on the right side on the graph, you can notice that it's been increasing over the past 50 years. This line represents the percentage of students internationally attending the school as a proportion of the total number of students attending those schools. These students that keep coming into our app help to generate 3 main sources of revenue, the first of which is applications. After talking to the Dean of International Admissions here at Quinnipiac University, we were quoted at $250 per application. That means for every time a student applies through our app, we get $250. They don't even have to attend this university. Next up, we have subscriptions. Universities will be paying a $200 subscription fee to have their school listed on our app, as well as having us manage and update the profile with the most up-to-date information and videos about their school. Finally, we'll be packaging and selling the data that we gather from students, the students' profiles, and the students' swiping patterns to make sure that we can rebundle it and sell it off to data brokers and College Board, as Alaki mentioned earlier. This data will be collected through the back end of our app, Amazon Web Services, which we selected because of its simplicity and its scalability as we continue to grow as a business. We narrowed our business down into 6 core components that we believe are the most essential things that need to be accomplished in order for us to function as a company. With each of these 6 components, we found the best service on Amazon Web Services for that business and used it to create a model that will work for us. Next up, during the development phase of our company, we'll have to develop both the app and the web portal that universities will be able to use to access information about their students. Other people that might be needed for our company are the employees that we're going to be hiring after the 1st and 2nd years to help increase the growth as we plan to get more and more schools and universities on board to help us gain students. Last up, there's some small licensing fees for both the App Store and the Google Play Store, which are easily covered and will be paid on a monthly or a yearly subscription basis. Some of our growth expectations we've come up with are extremely conservative and we believe are easily attainable for both Lockie and I to accomplish. Starting off, we'll have 10 universities located in the Connecticut area because of ease of access, and we'll be adding 5 more per month after that. Starting off, we'll be targeting schools in the New England area as we believe this is the most concentrated area of universities across our country, and it provides a very high academic level that people in other countries seek after. Next, we'll be using these schools to help attract high schools. If a high school from New Zealand, for example, sees that a prestigious college is listed on the app, they'll be more willing to have their students use the app to try to find these schools. It's a very prestigious feeling for a student from their school to attend a university across the sea. Next up, we expect around 2.5 students per high school to be using the app. This is not students who are actually downloading and forgetting about it. This is people who download it and use it to help look for schools. Of each of these students, we expect an average of 1 application per student. This might mean that someone applies to 16 different schools, which we have seen before, and this might mean that someone applies to 0. But at the end of the day, we believe that at least 1 person will apply to 1 school on average.
So our markets, our buyout options that we have. Obviously, we have a sustainable business here. We can continue to operate if we choose to. But if we don't, we have easy buyout options with College Board and through International Scouts. College Board already has dealings with SATs and with the international admission process and would be greatly appreciative of an app that could get them personable connections with the students that they operate with. And International Scouts would be really grateful to gain the exposure that we will have to the number of students that we have. So, if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you very much.
Is it the school that receives the application, or is it the individual student who seeks the match?
Initially, it will be the student. The student is, they're our primary, who we're going after. They're who we're targeting. We have to ensure that everything is tailored towards them, not towards high schools. High schools will be a flow-on effect that we will get to over time.
But the colleges, I'm just trying to see, who are you getting your fee from? Is it the individual student?
For the student, it's actually free to use.
Yes.
We did a lot of research looking at different download rates for paid versus premium apps. And we believe that having a free app means that it's more accessible to a lot of students, especially those who might not be able to afford or would be willing to pay for an app and take that risk. The colleges is, however, where we're making most of our money. As I mentioned, the application fees, the subscriptions, and then after on the backside, the data that they get from the students using our app.
And your assumption is that these schools are going to seek international applications and therefore willing to pay the $250 fee that goes to you?
Currently, international scouts charge around 15% of international students' first-year tuition as their payment, which is a considerable increase from the 200 and the 250 that we charge.
Okay, I'll stop.
I have a question about your data collection piece. Obviously, as you know, the EU has strengthened greatly its data collection policies and capacities to do things with it, sell it. But that would seem to be part of your exit strategy, because you're not selling the app, you're selling the data the app had collected to College Board, et cetera. How are you going to deal with the legal questions in terms of your budget that are going to come up with data collection, particularly in the EU?
So for starters, data is actually one of the smallest chunks of our revenue stream, which I was very surprised by when I did the initial research. More of the portion is coming from the colleges, paying for the actual students themselves, rather than the data that they generate from that. Next up, it's very similar data that College Board is already selling. College Board actually already sells a simplified list of that data for around 47 cents per student, and we'll be starting at that range to make sure that we're competitive. The additional data, and as you mentioned, European countries is kind of one of our next steps in the business. We'll be starting outside of the UK, and we might be moving in thereafter. But that's definitely something that we'll have to look into.
And so from the university standpoint, are they sort of passive once they have a contract with you, or do they get data on the students who are signed up, and can they do direct marketing? Like, can they get their email addresses and profiles and what they're interested in?
So the subscription actually covers them being on the app as well as us updating their profile. The data is very similar to how we're selling it to the data brokers. It will also be offered to the colleges. It will be available on the web portal that I had mentioned before. And colleges will be paying the same rates that anyone else would for that data.
So they could buy the data from
Yes,
The data will be allowed to, will be available to buy once a year. It's an annual data collection which will be sold.
Cool. I just got a signal that the judges can ask one more question, and then we will send you guys off.
The application through the app.
I'll ask that question. Your opening compelling motivation was about the quandary of an international student and the lack of somebody to speak with as they contemplate their alternatives. How does this business address that need?
This is, it's not so much a connection that you want to make with a person, it's that you want to get a better look as to what you are getting from your university. Right now, international scouts are already speaking to students, but they're not letting them know anything. I've had experience with an international scout. They don't tell you anything. They basically just, they're very basic, they're very vague. They'll show you images that you can find online. There's nothing like really concrete and genuine that they provide, like our 20 to 30 second video that we provide on our app that will be shot by a student on campus. That genuine 20 to 30 seconds would be infinitely more valuable to me than any image or statistic that they could have shown me.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Okay, so at this time, I am going to give our judges 1 or 2 more seconds to finish up, but I'm going to have my co-teacher, John, escort all of our judges off to the side to deliberate. But for the audience, your role is actually now kicking into full gear. So we all say, if I was on Shark Tank, I would totally invest, not invest, ask the right questions, be that person who generates all those great insights. Well, now this is your time. We have 2 teams that are going to be presenting. The rules are the same as in the first round. 7 minutes for presentation, 3 minutes for questions, but the questions are all from you, the audience. Moreover, you guys are going to be voting at the end of which of the 2 teams wins the $250 grand prize of the 11th hour competition. So make sure that you are asking all of the questions that you possibly can in the chat. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce the first of our 11th hour competitors, Bomboneria.
So I'm 10 years old, and I walk into my grandma and grandpa, or nonnu and nonna in Italian's, side of the house, and I walk into the kitchen, and I see my nonna standing there by the stove cooking sauce for Sunday dinner. In front of me, there's a small wooden table with ribbons and boxes and little tiny angel ornaments for my sister's communion. So I sit down and I start fidgeting around with the ribbons, and my grandmother comes over to me, and she tells me 2 things. She says, 1, don't mess up any of the party favors I've already created, and 2, if I want to help her. So I sit there and I watch her tie ribbons onto boxes and put tiny little fake flower arrangements into Jordan almond bags so they could be perfectly seen. Little did I know that as I was watching her all these years, I would be carrying on her memory. Unfortunately, she passed away a little over a year ago, but I could still see her hands at that little wooden table, tying knots for hours on end. The time and dedication she would put into these favors and the satisfaction she would get when she sees someone receive a favor is exactly how I want all my customers to feel when shopping with us. Hi, I'm Alessia Scatercio, and my company is Bomboneria. Bomboneria is an online luxury brand that sells customizable party favors and offers fake flower arrangement rentals for all events. We pride ourselves on having 24/7 customer service and offer shipping to all 50 states. I'm now going to take you on a quick walkthrough of my website. Here's the homepage for our site with our name at the top, Bomboneria, and the bottom our slogan, just like Nonna. You then scroll down and read a story a little bit about us, similar to the story I just told you all, and a little bit more about how the company started. You then scroll down to the Contact Us page, where it has our email and the phone number for our 24/7 hotline. When you click on the side menu bar, what will pop up is favors, services, testimonials, and more. When you click on favors, what will pop up is the events where you can buy the favors for. For example, if you click on wedding favors, what will pop up is a screen with pre-made favors as well as items you could purchase. When you click on a specific favor, such as the Capture Forever favor, you can then see the price and what you can customize for the favor. You can then add the favor to the cart and check out. We use USPS for our shipping. Here at Bomboneria, we offer 8 different types of customizations. But if you don't see a customization you like, you could set up a consultation with us and we can make your flower arrangement or your party favor exactly the way you want it. The target market here for Bomboneria is broken up into 2 groups. Group 1 is women aged 25 to 40, single or married, who make over $150,000 plus. Group 2 is women 55 to 75, single or married, who make over $350,000 up. As I mentioned, we're targeting a higher clientele because we are a luxury brand. The industry I'm breaking into is the party favor industry. As of right now, there is not a singular site on the market where you can customize every single aspect of your party favor and your flower arrangement exactly how you want it. The competition Bomboneria has is Etsy, Jazz & J Creations, and Amazon, but more so Etsy. Etsy is an online retailer where people can go online and sell their products through Etsy. Jazz & J Creations is an Instagram page, but you can only find this Instagram page if you go on Instagram and type in customizable party favors. Amazon is similar to Etsy, where you can go online and sell things through the site. What Bomboneria has that all these other companies do not offer is 24/7 customer service. So that means if a bride calls at 3 a.m. and she's freaking out that her party favors won't get there in time, we will answer the phone. We are also a singular website. There are no third-party sellers through our site. And you know exactly who is making your products, where your products are at all times, and when you will get your products. Bomboneria's marketing plan is simple to start for our launch. First, we have an Instagram and Facebook page. You can look us up right now at bomboneria.store. We also will plan to reach out to the top 10 party planners in the Fairfield County area, an area I'm well familiar with, and ask them to give us our clients who are planning parties of 100,000 up. As I mentioned, we're targeting a higher clientele because we are a luxury brand. Here at Bomboneria, we use Wix to run our website through, and we also use USPS for our shipping. For smaller products, such as the popcorn, as you see, it might take about 5 to 10 business days to ship, whereas larger products, it takes about 15 to 20 business days to ship. Also, with all the flower arrangements, you will get a prepaid return label, and you have 30 days to send back your rentals. Here at Bomboneria, I plan to hire my employees in phases. So year 1 of month 2, I plan to hire a customer service representative. So this is for someone to take phone calls outside of normal business hours. Year 1, month 6, I plan to hire a favor maker and an arrangement maker, someone who can help me make flower arrangements, but also assist me in making party favors. Year 2, month 6, I plan to hire shipping personnel as well. Here at Bomboneria, we offer 5 different types of revenue streams, and we plan to increase 1 event each month for the next year. Although we may not have a lot of events, each event will cost about $4,073, and our profit margin is 66% to 95%, depending on the item. Our first revenue stream is individual items that range from $10 to $200 per item. Revenue stream 2 is pre-made favors that range from $25 to $250 per item. Revenue stream 3 is customizations you can make to the items, and typically an item gets about 3 customizations, and that ranges from $5 to $30. Revenue stream 4 is fake flower rentals that range from $150 to $750. And revenue stream 5 is the consultation that I mentioned you could set up with us. It's a 30-minute phone call, so you can make sure your flower arrangements or your party favors are made exactly the way you want them, and that is $150. We also have some other expenses at Bomboneria, like our website, for example, items to buy, and the customizations that we make to the items. And then month 1 of year 2, we will start to add our employees, and employees will be paid hourly. Our net profit for Bomboneria for year 1 is $317,621, and we only expect to grow from there. I will be putting in $5,000 into my company, and with this $5,000, I plan to secure a supplier. As of right now, I'm using Michael's, Bed Bath & Beyond, and Pottery Barn. I would like to hire a PR team so they can run a social media campaign. I would also like to pay for the next 5 years of my website and set up a graphic designer to help increase the product of the site. As of right now, it's a beta site, and also hire a customer service representative. Any customer who is planning an event, any special event, needs a touch of Bomboneria made just like Nonna. Thank you so much. You can contact us at bomboneria.store@gmail.com.
Okay. First, in-person audience. This is your time to shine. Yes?
So we actually do offer local delivery and pickup in the Fairfield County area. Yes.
I know we have more questions. We finally got rid of the judges, so now you guys can show me that you're the experts. Yes?
No, so this is just our initial target market because we saw that from women 25 to 40, these would be the people who are getting married or having babies. And then it was more of a mother-daughter concept we were going for, so the mothers could be helping out the brides, or the mothers could be helping out by the bridesmaids. And also we do milestone parties, so we figured from 50 to 70s when people would be having milestone parties. But of course, any age can shop on our site.
Do we have any other input? Yes, I'm going to repeat the question so that our audience at home can hear.
So we actually plan on doing less events but higher volume of orders. So that is what we initially do. We don't constantly make party favors for them to be sent out, but we get an order, and if it's a large order, then we'll just make the favors for that.
Okay, thank you, in-person audience. Now our virtual audience has many questions. Okay, so how much time does it take to make an order?
So it depends on the order quantity and the amount of favors we are getting. So typically for a smaller favor, it takes me about 15 to 30. Typically for a smaller favor, such as this, it takes me about 15 to 30 minutes to make. Whereas a larger favor, it takes about 30 to 40 minutes to make. So it really depends on how much is being bought on our site.
Okay, our next virtual question is, How many orders have you gotten so far?
We actually have not gotten any orders yet because we are not live, but our site plans to launch in about 2 weeks.
Okay. What about your products makes you a luxury business?
So what about our products makes us a luxury business is that we put in the time and effort into each of our products that no other company puts in. Also, we give you that 24/7 customer service that you're not going to find with any other party favor site on the market. You can call us at any time, switch anything you want about your party favor, and we also use high quality products.
Okay, another question is, which is your most lucrative revenue stream, and at which percentage if you expect to be at 300K by the end of year 1? What does that equal to in number of units sold for that revenue stream? And just a side note, this was sent in by the original creator of this class, Brett Orzechowski, who has since left the university, but he was my professor here, so have fun.
So I think my most lucrative revenue stream would have to be the pre-made favors, just because those are already done. People don't have to put a lot of work into them. So I think that'll probably be about 50% of our sales so far because you don't have to think through it. They're already made for you. You can just change the smaller things such as the ribbons or the names on the favors.
Okay, and I believe we have time for one more question. Do you plan on having a reward system for loyal customers?
As of right now, we do not plan on having a reward system for customers. However, customers can create an account on our site, and we do recognize customers who do that, and we will give them specialized attention.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Bomboneria. Next up, I'm going to introduce our next team, Refashion. Remember, audience, you guys will be voting on the winner of this competition, the 11th hour competition, and then you will vote on the 8 teams all together for who you thought was the audience favorites. Without any further ado, Refashion.
So hello everyone, my name is Callie Purdue and I'm the CEO and founder of Refashion. Before I get fully into my business, I would like to acknowledge that I had some tech issues when it came to the computer and the highlighting was not intentional. As a fashion enthusiast, I do know better than to include yellow, green, and blue into my color scheme. So what is Refashion? Refashion is an app that promotes the buying and selling of upcycled, resold clothing and accessories with a large emphasis on fashion sustainability and education on fast fashion. So in high school, I became aware of the detrimental effects of fast fashion in the fashion industry in general, and from then on, I kind of made it a point to really incorporate sustainable fashion into my wardrobe. And I'm proud to say that over 85 to 90% of my wardrobe is upcycled clothing. So what are the problems? With fast fashion is the first problem. It represents a business model where clothes are made faster than they're able to break down. And this has detrimental effects on our labor and garment workers in low-income Asian countries that don't have rights or regulations protecting them. It also pollutes our environments and our oceans and hurts marine life that live there. And then lastly, it overwhelms our landfills like I talked about before. These clothes are made faster than they're able to break down. So what is the solution? The #1 solution to fast fashion right now is to put reused clothing right back into the cycle, and Refashion does just this. However, we also have unique components. We make tutorials in-house for small shops to use as a template to increase their online engagement and their attractiveness of their shop, as well as a quick shop subscription service, which basically just amplifies the frequency of items located in the main shop feed. And then lastly, a sustainable certification process where we do gatekeep the users that enter our platform. So continuing on to some of our solutions, these are some mock-ups that I made. The one on the left is the homepage, the first screen that you would see when you become a member of our team. Our logo is at the top. It's resale, reuse, refashion. And then the next screen is the sustainable certification process that you would see. It'll be the second screen that you would see. It's basically just figuring out if you would be a buyer or a seller. If you are looking to open a shop at Refashion, you do have to fill out the sustainable certification process. The next one is the quick shop, which is the main shopping feed for all users, for buyers and sellers. On Refashion, it kind of gives you a layout of what it would look like. The next one is another unique component to Refashion, which is a thrift store and yard sale locator. For thrift stores, it's use Google Maps and your zip code to find them. And then for yard sales, they are uploaded by every user on Refashion. The next one would be our personal mock shop. So this is kind of just an example of what your shop could look like that has the ability to customize, this is the layout of what it would look like. And then the next one is the educational resources page, which is a unique component which has all of our information on fashion sustainability, and it is from our proud nonprofit partners. So when it comes to our target market, in the last 2 years, the ethical sustainable fashion industry has grown tremendously, and it continues to grow. So our target market is entirely really big at the moment and will still grow. Right now, we're really targeting women, men, LGBTQ+ community because we are creating an inclusive platform, fashion enthusiasts, sustainable lifestyle influencers, and really just everyone in between. So when it comes to a secondhand apparel space, we do have a lot of competitors. Our top 3 would be Depop, Poshmark, and ThredUp. And as you can see from the chart on the screen, Refashion does have a lot of unique advantages over our competitors and that aren't even in the secondhand apparel space currently. So I wanted to include this anecdote from a student at Quinnipiac University. She has a secondhand apparel space currently, and I had the opportunity to kind of talk to her about what fueled her business. And she really said that fashion sustainability was one of the main things and how important it is for the future. She says, as reselling has become more common, there are many apps commonly used, but none dedicated to encourage community, awareness, and education of our fashion industries. I would love to be part of an app that is promoting products, as well as building community through education. So this just proves that we do have a consumer need for our product. So like I talked about before, we do have a sustainable certification process. There's 2, one for small shops and one for large shops. And we do gatekeep our community to make our user preference better. And then also, it allows for our sustainable initiatives to be at the forefront of our mission and our business model. So our employees, I am the CEO and founder. I oversee all in-app communication, social media, and everything in between. And then our head designer does create all of our graphics, our in-app designs. And then Megan Stone is our education vice president. She does the liaison between our nonprofit partners and all the educational components when it comes to Refashion. So the process for tutorial development, like I mentioned before, we do make tutorials for our small shops to use as a template to kind of increase their online engagement and shop attractiveness. The process for that would to be kind of just drafting the products, creating those visuals, editing those visuals, and then finalizing the product in general and putting those into our users' hands directly. And the next will be for our process for our app development, which is creating those mock-ups like you saw before, getting that finalized web design, contracting the position, and then the most important part is to receive investment. I will not be able to launch Refashion if I don't receive investment. So Refashion will automatically charge a 10% fee, including on the sale price, including the shipping costs. But I want to reiterate that Refashion is a free app to join. And then we have 3 other revenue streams, one being the Quick Shop subscription service, which is a tiered pricing system, and then the tutorial, which is $20 each for lifetime use, and then the last one being the large shop subscription fee. This is kind of just an overview of our financials, with our revenue being year 1, 2, and 3 with all of our revenue streams, our expenses for year 1, including our startup costs, and then our net profit for year 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, we are a profitable business. So if Refashion does receive investment, we will put it towards 3 things: our app development, our tutorial development, and then also paying our employees. And thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate everyone's time. If you do have any questions, my email is on the screen. And thank you.
Okay, audience. Questions? I know we have questions. Yeah. I'm going to repeat the question because I got word that the in-home audience was unable to hear the last question. So I'll repeat it, and then Callie, you can answer.
Okay.
How do you hope to raise awareness of people to use your app? That's the first question. The second question is, do you plan geographically a smaller launch area or nationwide?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to reiterate. So the first question was, how are you going to build brand awareness? And then are you going to launch wide or more localized?
Yeah, so how we would build brand awareness is like through social media and then marketing plans when it comes to that. So reaching out to our target market and people that would be interested in using our product through social media, but then also like community-wise too, like here at Quinnipiac. And then in the beginning, I would like to kind of just do nationally in the United States because international shipping is an added cost. But in the future for development, I would like to expand.
Yes? So how does it compare to Poshmark, and how do you differentiate it?
Yeah, So there was a chart on our screen when it came to our competitors. We have unique components to Refashion that Poshmark doesn't have. They have an online clothing market, and they have, I believe, subscription services, but they don't have any of our sustainable initiatives, certification process, the GPS locator for thrift stores in your area, any tutorials to increase shop engagement. So that's how kind of we're unique compared to Poshmark.
I think we have time for one more question in-house before we go to virtual. Do we have any more? Okay. First virtual question. Why is this app better to use than Depop?
Okay, so kind of what I said similarly
Yes,
already. Depop, again, is one of our top competitors, but they have an online clothing market, and they don't even have any subscription services. They're basically made an app just to make profit. They don't have any sustainable certifications or initiatives when it comes to their app. So that's what sets us apart from any consumer online apparel space.
Okay, next question. How does your marketing plan accommodate for such a large target market? It seems like you are targeting everyone at the moment. What are you doing to attract everyone in your target market?
Yeah, so we plan to use social media to our benefit and target influencers that are directly interested in sustainable fashion. And that might sound like a small group of people, but it's actually a large, very large growing industry. So that's what we would target them, introduce our app, and then also we would target people that are already selling on other platforms and kind of describe why we have unique components, and then hopefully that they would kind of understand and join our team.
How much are you asking for in terms of investment? If so, would you be willing to give up 51% of your business to get this launched?
So app development right now is predicted to be around 50,000. So that would be to launch. And then our tutorials is around 5,000 to launch as well. I do plan on putting some self-investment in it, around 15,000. So it would be kind of whatever's left over. That would be the amount of investment that I would be looking for.
What is your plan for expanding the business and hiring new employees?
Yeah, so as the business grows, we'll obviously need more employees. So we'll need more employees to kind of oversee customer service, those kinds of things. As it grows, there's definitely a chance to employ new people. So I kind of just, as the company grows and gets bigger, and there's a need for more people to hire, then that's when I would do it.
And our final question, is there specific criteria that needs to be met for a refashioned item?
Yes, that's a great question. So through our sustainable certification, we do gatekeep the users that are allowed on our platform. So basically, the sustainable certification process kind of, you have to have certain criteria to open a shop on Refashion. You basically have to either have resold clothing, or the clothing that you are selling has to be ethically made. So for example, Amazon has a lot of large retailers at the moment, and they just sell clothing as a platform on Amazon. I'm kind of trying to avoid that, having consumers or companies just sell clothing at a mass amount versus having clothing that's actually ethically made and resale in small shops.
Okay, and that is all the virtual questions that we have. Thank you very much, Refashion. Okay. Now that all of our teams have presented, we are nowhere near over. Right now, if you are in-house, please take out your cell phones and scan this QR code. It will take you to the polling site where you will vote on the winner of the 11th hour competition between Bomboneria and Refashion. After you submit that answer, you will then see the next slide, which will have all 8 teams. The audience, that will be your chance to vote on who was your favorite team overall for the entire night. For those of you watching at home, you will go to this link that has been posted into the chat on YouTube, and you will be able to vote through there. So again, people here, am I in the way? Yes, I'm in the way. You'll be able to click on the QR code or the link. And we are still awaiting the judges to come back from their deliberation for the Launchpad competition. And as that is taking place, we are going to begin to bring out our teams after everyone in-house has gotten access to the poll. Is everyone here good? Not yet? Feel free to stand up and come up and grab a picture. And I see our judges are returning.
Some of our judges got slightly distracted and talked.
Okay, so now we're going to bring our teams back out. So first we're going to introduce Hylite. They're going to come on out, our first presenter, then Baked by Jess. Feel free to give them a hand. Campuscars. Approaching Me. Itopia. Clarify. Bomboneria. And finally, Refashion. So we're going to take this opportunity to plug this class. Okay? So prospective students, current students, family. I took this class in its second iteration 10 years ago. Professor Tomczyk was my teacher. He was so gracious enough to bring me back as a faculty, to teach this course.
Yes.
I was a competitor. I finished in second, which a way terrible idea that would not even be allowed to be in the presence of these teams today. For 5 years, I was a judge alongside Rich Hanley. I gave him a run to try and be one of the longest tenured. And now I'm more than proud to be a part of it and grow this program with Dave. But, no, you know.
This has been absolutely awesome. Each of these teams has put in so many hours of blood, sweat, and tears. And if you want to take this class, you get to too. And they will be happy to tell you about their joyous experience over the span of the semester. But as they will attest, and as John will personally attest, this class is absolutely awesome because it's basically an accelerator for whatever idea you have. We want to open this up to the entire university, so anyone who is interested with an idea, or if you just want to test your own limits, we invite you to take the class next year. So it'll be offered in the fall semester. And without further ado, I think that we are ready to announce the rankings.
And the best part about this, I do not know any of the winners yet, so that will be...
You have to look up the 11th hour. John
I
will
will be
know
right
one
back.
of these rankings. One second, he's checking it right now, which also gives me a chance to say to our audience, thank you guys so much for participating. Thank you also for all of the voting that you've done, all the questions that you asked, all the insights that you had. And we encourage you to follow up with any of our teams afterwards if you have ideas, if you want to support them, if you want to ask what their experiences have been like or lessons that they've learned, or even get mentoring from them. Because at this point, they're all veterans in the best way possible. Oh. Okay.
So, the winner of the 11th hour competition was Bomboneria. And now you can,
okay.
I have a special announcement for the audience vote because we're not even going to reveal it because we have a major tie.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so as I announce the different ranks, if you guys could please step forward so that we can applaud you. In 6th place, Itopia. And I will also remind all of you guys to talk to the judges afterwards. They have some absolutely awesome insights and questions for you after. So thank you. 5th place, Baked by Jess. And in 4th place, Approaching Me. And before we get into 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, I'm going to hand it over to John to talk about the audience vote.
So the audience vote, and I'm blanking now because we had a 4-way tie. So we'll announce that at the end.
Oh, definitely wasn't expecting that.
Yes, we will save that for the students later on, that announcement.
For 3rd place, we have Clarify. For second place, we have Campuscars. And that means our first place winners and holders of this big giant check that we have is Hylite NFT. Everyone, thank you so much for participating. Again, feel free to follow up with any of our teams, follow up with any of our judges. If you have any questions, John and I have our emails up on the screen because we would love to talk with you and get you involved for next year. Until then, everyone, have a wonderful night. Oh, sorry, the four-way tie.
Yes. Hold on, I have to get the numbers again. Okay, and our audience winner is a four-way tie between Bomboneria, Refashion, Campuscars, and Clarify. So they will all be splitting that prize money.
Yes, that was definitely unexpected.
Very unexpected.
Okay, so now, honest to goodness, thank you, everyone. We will ask our judges to stay after to talk with our teams for a little bit. And for the audience members here in person, for everyone online, again, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you next year. And have a good time until then.
Yes. Thank you. And everybody that is here, we'd like to invite you over here, and we're going to have a small reception with some pizza.
And also desserts from Baked by Jess.
And desserts from Baked by Jess.